Hey everyone, welcome to REP. That stands for Refactor, Engineer, Produce. I'm Tom. Before we jump into any of my coding contents, I want to make one video that covers everything you need to get set up. This is more like a prereq video. I'll be referencing it in my future videos, so you can always come back here and follow along. Besides the subscription content I will mention, the tools that I usually present are planning to be free. So let's go over who I am. Quick background, I have a CS degree, worked at NetApp and Google. My roles range from QA all the way to staff software engineer and lead technical manager. I shipped software on the Nexus devices back in the day, Pixel phones and other Nest, and even the Fuchsia OS. I have a heavy background in Bluetooth and OS development, lots of back-end work. Now I'm basically coding in AI agents or with AI agents and building a new company. But here in this channel, I'm just here to help out some friends and make some basic how-to videos while I work on my startup, and I think it'll be beneficial to you. Okay, so here's a quick roadmap of what we're going to be covering today. We'll start with what these AI coding tools actually are, talk about subscriptions and pricing so you know what to pay for, then immediately get you up to installation. After that, we will shift on how to actually work with these tools, the right mindset, how I prompt, and everyone prompts differently. And a key feature called plan mode that is available in Claude Code. We'll be mainly focusing on the Claude Code tool today, but I'll talk about Codex and Gemini a bit. Then we'll touch on extending the tools with MCP servers and wrap up with a live demo where I audit one of my own apps I'm working on. Let's go ahead and get into it. So what are these tools? Well, let's go start with Claude Code. It's an AI assistant that runs in your terminal. You talk to it in plain English, describe what you want, and it writes code. Codex is OpenAI's alternative. Claude Code, I gotta mention, is by Anthropic. And it's a similar concept, just a different engine, a different model underneath. Think of these tools as really smart pair programmers sitting right next to you. How you interact with them is you talk to them, it codes, you review, you push back if needed, and iterate. Let's dive into the subscriptions. What do you get? Well, first of all, here's a disclaimer. This is my current opinion based on how I use these tools day to day. I've been testing various coding AIs for the better part of the past year. I've pushed apps to the App Store, Google Play, built web apps with full-fledged backends. So I have a pretty good surface area and firsthand what these tools do and what I prefer. And that said, these models are growing and changing every day. We get new updates. You see online, this is the best update for this model that's ever existed, and then a week later another company says the same thing. Let's dig into Claude. So Claude, we have multiple tiers. I currently pay for the max plan. It has deep reasoning. It handles big projects very well, and the coding output is pretty good. And this is essentially my daily driver. Codex comes with ChatGPT Plus or Pro. It has a free version as well. I find it slow for iteration. It really shines is when I use it for code reviewing or PRD collaboration and kind of second opinions on things. It really is eager to call out when plans from Claude Code don't look right, which is interesting. And it also gives when it is right. The $20 ChatGPT plan, which gives you Codex, does seem to give you more token usage than Claude Code. But you'll see that there's something called token limits as you start using these. But I just don't think the quality, in my experience, is there yet. So if you had to pick one, $20 for the Claude Max plan is the better deal. You'll definitely get things done faster, but you'll hit the limits sooner. Gemini. So I know people are probably going to ask, hey, Tom, you worked at Google. I worked at Google back when it was Bard, and I think I left right when they changed it to Gemini, or they were planning to change it to Gemini a few years ago. I just don't feel that Gemini is at its prime yet. I have it because it's part of my business plan for my company. I do test regularly on Gemini models, especially as they come out with new updates, 3.1, I think even 3. Remember the exact up-to-date model right now, just this past week. But I don't really use it as a primary tool. Sometimes, if I need a third opinion on something, I'm not quite convinced on what ChatGPT/Codex or Claude says, I will consult it, but I'll consider it a lower ranked opinion. I will go ahead and add pricing links in the description, and you can go look at the various options that are available. So outside of these subscriptions, which you will need for coding in general to get anything substantial done, most tools I demo or I plan to demo are free, and I'll always link them in the description. So now that you know what to sign up for, let's go ahead and get these tools installed. Okay, let's get into prerequisites. You can use Windows, but I prefer Mac OS or Linux. A lot of the things that I will be referencing will be specific to Mac OS, but it can work on Linux. You'll need a terminal. You'll need Node.js. I'll provide a link in the description. Working knowledge of the command line helps, but it's not really required, especially because you can ask, once you get these tools set up, you can ask the tools either installing or running them or getting things set up from online. You'll need to either install Claude Code or Codex CLI. For the demos I'll be giving today, I'll be using Claude Code. Claude Code has two ways to install for Mac: npm install, which is from Node.js. Install that globally, or on your Mac you can use homebrew, brew install. I'll add the commands in the description as well. After you install, you just type Claude in your terminal and it'll walk you through authentication the first time. Codex CLI is very similar. You use your npm install commands, and you get the same deal with setting up your authentication. So you already need an account, you already need a subscription, and it'll just open up a browser window and authenticate your account. Both are fairly easy to install. You pay for them. When you use them through your subscription, you'll hit limits every so many token usage, but they'll reset after so many hours. Desktop apps. One thing I want to mention is both Claude and ChatGPT / Codex have their own desktop apps if you prefer more of an IDE type interface over the command line. Claude's is at Claude. I'll put the links in the description. One thing about Codex is that there's now two IDE type interfaces for OpenAI's tools, which is Codex, which is their new desktop version of coding through an IDE, and they have ChatGPT, which doesn't really talk to code very much. It's more of a chat type interface. So you might get confused if you go to the website to try to download them. In the demo we'll be giving today, we're going to be focusing more on the command line. We'll dig into desktop IDEs at a later time. So I'll drop links to set up your accounts below, and I'll just go ahead and show how easy it is to delve right into a command line install. Okay, when we are here in your terminal, right now I'm using Ghosty, but you can use whatever terminal that you want. Doesn't really matter. You can use whatever shell you want. As long as you have brew or npm installed, you can go ahead and run the installation command. Here, I'm going to go ahead and run brew install Claude Code. I already have it installed, but it'll take you a few minutes to go run through the first time. And once it's installed, all you have to do is type Claude, and it'll enter in your Claude terminal. And of course, people who are doing first-time setup will see a authentication prompt and validation to have you work in that particular directory. I'm right now in the directory that we're going to be doing a demo in, so I'm already ready to go. So before we actually delve into our demo, I wanted to go over some mindset things you need to start thinking about working with these tools. Challenge the AI. Push back. Don't just accept whatever it gives you. Ask why. Suggest alternatives. Ask if there is an alternative. You're the boss. The AI is your assistant. It's not the other way around. The other thing is knowledge cutoff is very real. If you ask about something that either happened last week or a new library or new framework or new API, whatever it is that came out recently, Claude or Codex may not know about it. And it'll just say, hey, this thing doesn't exist. I don't know what you're talking about. So in these cases, you may have to just literally copy paste it and throw it into your Claude prompt in order to get it that context. Context is king. And you are the decision maker. The AI proposes, you dispose. Review what it generates, understand it, then make the final call. Now, let's talk about how to actually communicate with these tools. How I use these tools is I'm conversational. Don't type like a robot, talk to it like a coworker. Start with a broad description of what you want, then refine as you go. And if you're not ready to code yet, tell it that you're not ready to code. You're still just exploring. Don't expect perfection on the first try. It's a back and forth conversation. Just like if you were making a PRD in a company, you're trying to drive a new product, your first draft is usually not accepted. The next thing is you really want to give context about your project and what you're trying to work on. The more it knows about your code base, your goals, all of your constraints, the better the output. If it gets something wrong, you correct it. Oh, that's not right, and explain why. It learns from the conversation. So let me show you some examples of what this looks like in practice. Here's the difference between bad prompts and good prompts. Bad prompt, make a website, fix my code. That's way too vague. What code? What's wrong? What do you want specifically? Good. This is not great, but say create a Flask app with a landing page and a sign-up form using Tailwind. Or more specifically, let's say you already have some code you're working on. This login form throws a 401 error when valid credentials are submitted. Check the auth middleware for token validation issues. If you give specifics and context, it'll be more likely to find the issue and fix the issue and use something generic or incorrect. Another bad is make it better. Make what better? Better how? Performance, reliability, security, testing. A better way to do it is refactor this function to reduce complexity. It has 3 nested if statements that could be flattened. You have a clear goal, you have a specific problem, and it's actionable. So the pattern is be specific, give context, and tell it what success looks like. One other thing I want to talk about in regarding to Claude Code is when you first launch Claude in a particular directory, it's probably going to ask you, if it didn't already, to create a Claude.md file. So what is this? A Claude.md file is a description about your code base, your project, rules to follow. It's like a pre-context that is kept through the conversation. So if I do a init right now, it'll go ahead and that's /init. It'll go ahead and retrieve the existing context of the code base. Right now, there's no code base in this particular project. It's completely empty. So it'll probably just create a Claude.md file. And as a placeholder, yes, I want to go ahead and create the Claude.md file. Let's go ahead and wait for that to complete, and there we go. And as expected, it says, hey, this directory is empty, no code to analyze, it's bare bones, nothing. The Claude.md file is great for things like if you need to continuously talk to a remote server, or if you have a particular way you want to follow coding guidelines or style guides, or the project as a whole. We'll talk about that more in a future video. One of the most important features in Claude Code, and I want to give it its own moments, we will show it during our demo, is plan mode. Shift-Tab in the command line puts Claude into plan mode. Instead of immediately writing code and making changes, it shows you a plan of what it intends to do, which file, what changes it'll make, and why. This gives you the opportunity to actually review it before it starts implementation, refactor it if needed, approve it, adjust it, reject it entirely. This is huge for staying in control of your projects, especially when you're working on bigger features. Use it when you're making big changes across multiple files, or when you're not sure about the general direction and you need some guidance. You can even ask for it to give you multiple options for your plan. Think of it like a code review of what you're planning to do before the code's even written. It keeps you in the driver's seat. It keeps you in control of your whole project. We'll use this, like I said, we'll use this in the demo later to show you how powerful this tool is, but this is something that I use all the time. Before we get into the demo, we're going to talk about one more thing that comes up all the time, and that is MCP servers, skills, and plugins, because I will be mentioning these throughout some various videos, and you need to understand what they are and making sure you don't get in trouble with them. So MCP servers, skills, and plugins is let you extend what Claude Code can do. You can connect to browsers, databases, Xcode, you name it. But here's my honest advice about it. Start slow. Don't go install 20 MCP servers on day one. Start with the base tool, get comfortable with it, and then add plugins as you actually need them. A lot of people overload their setup early and it creates more confusion than value, and it kind of messes up Claude Code. And you can install these on a project basis or globally. That said, there are a couple I think are genuinely must-haves depending on what you're doing, at least in my flow. If you're doing web development, Playwright MCP. It's a no-brainer. It lets Claude Code control a real browser, click buttons, fill out forms, take screenshots, run tests. You can install it globally. I will add the command or the npm package in the description. For iOS development, if you're using Xcode at all, there is, for most people do, if you're doing iOS development, Xcode build MCP. It connects Claude Code directly to Xcode. So you can build, run, debug, read, build errors. If you're building iOS apps with Claude, this saves a lot of time. And I believe, which we can go into a later video, there's actually now direct implementation in Xcode for Claude support. But I'll have to go double check that later. Both are free. Start with whichever matches your stack and add more as you need them. All right, enough of the slides. Let's go see this in action. I have now opened up a directory called Crusted, which is one of the apps I'm working on. And we're going to go ahead and audit my own app. So I'm going to go ahead and type Claude. Great. I already have my Claude.md file, so it's going to go ahead and load that up, and it understands the project. This is an iOS app. It touches a lot of different things. So the prompt I'm going to be using first is we're going to be auditing the project for code quality, unused dependencies, and potential bugs. So audit this project for code quality, unused dependencies, and potential bugs. No fixes, just writes and audits MD file. You see I'm being very specific and hey, I don't want you to start coding right now. I want to review. Whatever you find, go ahead and write it to an MD file. Markdown. What is Claude Code doing right now? So right now, as you see, Momento is actually a MCP server that I wrote to help with context retrieval. More about that in a different video. But right now it's going to be exploring my code base and auditing my server is going to be auditing my iOS directory. It's going to be auditing everything that I said in the prompt. Once it's done, it's going to report back to me and it'll make that markdown file. We can look at the markdown file in very specifically, one by one. What I'm going to do is actually ask it what's the most glaring issue. We're going to ask it to fix it or make a plan to fix it. So let's go ahead and let this run. Okay, here we go. It took about 5 or 6 minutes to go through both the server and the iOS code. And it has a little bit of humor. It's talking about the scariest things out there in my audit. 46 total findings. Here we go. So query substitutions will crash every time it's called. That's interesting. That's a bug that definitely needs to be fixed. Okay. So there's a lot of issues it found, which is great. And this is a new app I'm working on. So some things may be correct, some things won't, but we can just go ahead and go through them one by one and fix them. I wouldn't recommend just saying, fix it in bulk. But what we're going to do today is actually enter plan mode and say, come up with a fix for number 1. It'll already know exactly which one number 1 is. It already knows the previous conversations and messages that you've had. So now it's going to go into plan mode and figure out the exact code involved and propose to me a fix for it. Now this is going to be a very simple plan, but you can get some very complex plans as well. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bit smaller. It'll be hard to see, but you can get the gist of it. So here's the Claude plan. So let's go ahead and fix this by doing, here's the context, here's the proposed fix, something to do with my rag indexers having a problem, and here's the before, and here's the after. And I'm just going to go ahead and say, go ahead and auto accept edits, but I would encourage you to, as you get used to it, as you understand the tool, to manually approve edits. So I'm going to go ahead and approve this plan and say go. But you can also argue with the plan, and I encourage you to go and argue with it. There we go. It was that simple. It was a 2-line change. Easy fix. And now I'll say, and I would suggest to make a Git repository. If you don't know Git, I'd suggest go look up videos on Git. Go ahead and commit and push to main. So what's nice about this is that it will actually go ahead and figure out once you have a initialized, it'll go ahead and create a git commit for you. There we go. Seeing it's adding the fix file right now. I'm going to go ahead and increase the size a little bit. Good. So tell me the commits. Yes. Go ahead and look at what the commit message was. There we go. Fix query substitutions crash. Both callers pass top k equals 3, but the method signature didn't accept it, causing a type error. Perfect. We found the bug. We fixed it. This was probably introduced at one of the refactors I was doing recently, and I just didn't catch it. Haven't fully gone through testing this yet. So perfect. And now I have a whole bunch more work to go through those other 40 somewhat top issues it found. So that's it. You've got the tools installed, you know how to think about working with AI, you know how to prompt, and you've seen a little bit of it in action. There'll be plenty more videos of showing how this works and how I interact with AI. There's not one best way to use AI and prompting, but this is the way I use it. The best way to learn is to just start by using it. Find a project online that you find interesting, maybe clone it locally, ask Claude to audit it, start a new project of your own, use the plan mode. Don't be afraid to push back and iterate. Go out and build. So if you think this was helpful, give me a subscribe, like, for more videos like this. I'll be doing deeper dives into specific tooling. I'll be doing some live coding sessions, real world projects that I'm working on here and there. And yeah, here's my channel rep, refactor, engineer, produce. Handle at repdev. Drop a comment if you have any questions, or if you want to see something specifically covered. Thanks for watching.